Thank you. Thank you. It's the winter of 1993, and it's the second winter in a row where I start coughing as soon as the weather turns cold. Now, the prior winter, I had gone to some doctor who said it was pneumonia, and it took like 3 different antibiotics, but eventually the coughing stopped. So this winter, I tried a different doctor, and I go in and see him, and he hears my story and listens to my cough. And he says the phrase that you really don't like to hear from your doctor. I don't like this. And he has me see a pulmonary specialist who has me breathing hard into these tubes, and he's looking at the results. Again, I don't like this. You need a CAT scan. Okay. So I lay on my back and get shot full of dye and wait for that weird contraption and go over myself, and then get to wait in the waiting room till I know the guy good pictures. Well, I'm not a very patient person. It's funny for a patient. But I'm getting really antsy. It's crowded, and I think, okay, let me go see if I get a heads up. And I head towards the radiology lab, and out walks a very attractive young woman. And for a second, I indulge in her attractiveness until I realize she's got a very concerned look on her face, and this is the radiologist. And gulp. What did you see? Your doctor will have to discuss that with you. Panic is setting in. He calls it an opacity. An opacity on my right lung, and there seems to be some opacities on the left lung. What does that mean? Well, unfortunately, you can't tell from a CAT scan. You can't tell what's causing it. You need a bronchoscopy. That's where they shove a tube down your throat to snoop and snip. Well, the procedure didn't scare me, but I'm growingly terrified at what's going on with me. So I have the bronchoscopy, and I get the call the next day, my pulmonary guy. I have some good news and some not so good news. Please, the good news. It's not cancer. Whew. Now, the interesting thing is I really hadn't indulged in worry about cancer specifically, but it certainly was a relief to hear I didn't have cancer. So what could the bad news be? We don't know what it is. Uh-oh. We sent the samples to the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, in Washington, D.C. This is getting serious, and we'll know in a couple of days. So the couple of days pass, and again, on the phone with the pulmonary guy. This is strange. Oh, God, I don't want to hear that. What's so strange? Well, you have coccidioidomycosis. What is that? Well, the strange thing is that only exists in the Southwest. Well, I just lived in Arizona for the last 10 years. Okay. So at least it's not strange. And as it turns out, that Yale, I was in Connecticut at the time, Yale School of Medicine, their infectious disease department, their senior doctor actually wrote a book on this particular infection. So he sets me up with an appointment with this doctor. I'm in the examination room. The doctor pokes his head in the door, and bam, it's like a ringer, dead ringer from Marcus Welby, MD. Oh, my God, I feel great. I feel confident. I'm in good hands. I just got to go check your chart. I'll be right back. And he comes back in the room, and his face is dead serious, and he's looking me square in the eye, and he says, I won't let you die. And he starts telling me the story of Coxie. He calls it Coxie for short. It grows very slowly. Well, isn't that good? No. It makes it very, very hard to kill. In fact, the traditional medicine that they use to treat it can kill you too, and you have to be hospitalized to get it. Oh, and it makes you very, very sick. And before this has a chance to sink in, he tells me, but in the last few years they've developed another medication that doesn't have these side effects, and that's what we're going to do. I think we can get it with that. Well, as far as the full spectrum of medical maladies go, I mean, I'm really not in that bad shape. I should be, I shouldn't be bummed. Well, I had just been through a divorce, in addition to the relocation. So I'm in a new town, knowing no one, and also I had just dealt with the passing of my father. So I'm emotionally depleted. I'm totally depleted. I feel very alone. And I almost feel like I have a twin sword of Damocles over my head. You know, on the one hand, this hideous medication, and on the other hand, some fungus eating out my lungs and my brain and who knows whatever. And in this state of total depletion, I happen to be listening to NPR one night, and a song comes on. I don't know it, but it's intensely spiritual, and it just grabs me completely to the point where I find myself dropping on my knees, and I throw out my hands. And I ask the question to what others might call God or the Great Spirit, what I call the larger perspective. And I ask, what am I supposed to learn from this? Now that question does two things. One, it provides an immediate answer. Drop your anger. And all at once, I see like the levels of rage that I've been hanging on to for the last year and a half are poison, and I drop it. And that question does another thing. I accept my situation. And that's how you solve any problem. You got to start from what is. And what am I going to do? I'm going to take the medicine. I knew I'd beat the disease, and I did. Thank you.